here. Okay. So if you notice any technical difficulties, if I start talking about something that is not on my screen or something like that, please unmute and let me know. I do monitor the chat, but I can be a little bit slow to respond. So, I just ask people to let me know if something happens. And in terms of interaction, just please engage and be respectful. I haven't had any issues with this, but it makes our little time together go by much better if everyone kind of participates. So our agenda for today is I'm going to do a quick exercise with you on how to think about research. I'm going to talk a little bit about, why you should do research at the library, and I'm going to talk about using databases and a little bit about citations. And then I have time for questions at the end. So if there's anything that I kind of skip over today or that you're confused about or just would like me to explain in better detail, feel free to ask throughout the presentation, but there will be time at the end for that. And don't worry about taking notes. There is a public speaking research guide. It should be linked in your Blackboard. However, I do have the link, and I'll put the link on, I think it's actually at the end of this presentation. You're also welcome to get in touch with me. So this is my email, and I'll put this in the chat. If you have any specific questions or you want some help doing research, yeah, I'm always more than happy to chat with you or answer your emails or any of your concerns. And I'll talk a little bit about getting in touch with a librarian using our Ask Us page on the library website. I have that linked here, so I'll put that in the chat too. But I'll also show you that on the library website when we get to that. Oh, okay, before I do this, I'm gonna shut off my video. I feel more comfortable. Can't see me. You're welcome to do that as well, but I'm gonna keep my audio on. So, just to be clear about that. Oop. Okay. All right. Okay, so my first question for everyone is, you want to buy a new car. Where are you going to look for information? And I'll give you maybe a minute and a half to answer this question. So there's no real right answer here. I just want you to think what you would do if you wanted to buy a new car and where you would look. Okay, great. So I'll move on to the next question. So yeah, these are all great answers. Google, Carfax, Kelley Blue Book, online, the internet, dealerships. Reading reviews. Yeah, fantastic answers. Okay, so bring this up because you already know how to do research. You know how to look for specialized information. And this word that I'm going to be talking about a lot today, you know how to figure out which database you need. So, you know, some people added or mentioned, you know, looking at like the Kelly Blue Book or Carfax. These are just examples of databases that have specialized information about cars that, you know, you need to access if you're researching cars. Gathering expert opinions. So, you know, a lot of people said they would go to somebody at a car dealership, or they read reviews online, or I think somebody mentioned their stepdad, you know. So you talk to people who know more about this subject than you do, and you'd kind of survey them and see what they have to say for making a decision about, you know, where you stand, and what kind of car you would feel good driving. Um, and then the fourth is that, you know, in the same way that you would be cautious of just looking at one opinion or one perspective when someone's trying to sell you a car, you know, you want to kind of take various perspectives and different ideas, and sure that you're getting, you know, both objective and subjective information. So, you know, somebody at a car dealership might tell you that one car is really great for you, they want to sell it to you, versus, you know, your family member, they're going to look for, um, you know, they want to know maybe like safety information about a car, and they'll kind of have a different perspective. They're going to keep your best interests at heart. So, you know, these are all things that you have already done, that you know how to do, but you might be kind of new to applying these ideas to your research in college and to academic research. Okay, so um, this is all to say, why is the library a good place to start your research? So most people, I think, when they think of the library, they think of a place to get books. And especially if, you know, if you've been into like a public library, or if you had a library or high school, you know, these would be, the library would be the place to get books. But actually in college, the library is really just a place to get information. Um, so I don't know if any of you have been on campus this semester, maybe a little bit. You know, we do have a physical structure and a physical building, but I really want you to start thinking about the library as an online space, as a place to get access to information. So I'm going to put this link in the chat just so everyone has it. So some of you have maybe already seen this website. Some of you may not have visited your website, and that's okay. I'll kind of go over a little bit of how to use this. So what's the first thing I'm going to talk about? Okay, I'm not going to go to that just yet. So this is the library website, as I mentioned. There's a lot of information on this website. It's kind of deceptively simple, but I'm going to show you just some key things about what you should know when you're starting out doing research. And then I'm going to kind of identify some specific places that are going to be really helpful as you develop your research for your topics, for your speeches. Okay, so first thing that I just want to show you is the Ask Us page. And this is just the way that you can get in touch with us. We have a 24/7 chat service. You know, if you get stuck at any point in your research and you're not really sure what to do, or if a source is actually credible, or if you're on the right track for your research within assignment, you can always kind of contact a librarian, and we can help you at any stage of your research, and help you out even before you have like a draft of your assignment. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay. So the next thing I have for you is, oh, some people have already voted. I'm going to open voting again. All right. So I think I opened this maybe a little bit prematurely, but I'm going to give you, actually give like 30 seconds. More. So I just wanted an example of a topic that I should use to search, and I thought I'd let you guys all choose. Oh wow, some people are voting twice. Okay. Some passionate participants today. Okay, cool. Social media platforms seems to be a really popular one, so I'll just keep that in mind. All right. Okay. So if I was researching social media platforms, there's a couple of different ways to do this. All right, so the first way that I'm going to show you is called Quick Search. And if we pop over to the University Library website, Quick Search is actually the first, most straightforward way, to kind of do research. However, most people would probably think about this similar to a Google search, and with the well, we'll get into the differences between Google and Quick Search, but essentially Quick Search, you have to be more specific in your search terms to get better results. So just as an example, I'll search just for the term that we looked for, or that we voted on. Okay, cool. So as you see, actually quite a bit of stuff has come up that, might be really relevant if you were researching social media platforms. And actually a lot of this is pretty good information. However, you might notice that there's about 2 million results that have popped up. Again, if you feel comfortable, using Quick Search, everything that is indexed in Quick Search is, good, high quality information for the part. When you get a little bit more in your research, you might use terms like peer review to kind of narrow down your results. I go into a lot of format type today in this workshop, but different types of formats might be better for your research depending on what your topic is. So in this case, I'm just going to say that I'm looking for a book on this particular topic. Okay. So this has kind of narrowed it down to 3 books. And some of these look a little bit more relevant than others. For this class in particular, I think journal articles are going to be one of the best things for you to look at when you're writing your persuasive speeches. Okay. And say that, you want to look at results maybe like the last 12 months. You can use this limiter here to narrow it down to things that have just been published in 2020. Okay, so another thing that you can that's nice on quick search is you can look at the different discipline areas. And this can be a really good kind of research strategy if you're interested in social media platforms, but you're not entirely sure how to get more specific than that. Oh. Well, the first rule of library demonstrations is always that computer seems to slow down as soon as I'm trying to show someone something. Okay, you'll have to forgive my slow internet here. I'm just gonna, in the interest of time, here we go. Okay, so say I was interested in looking at, the effects of social media platforms and education. This might be kind of one way that you do research. Anyway, this is all to say search is a great place to look. It will pull up a ton of information for you. You'll probably be able to kind of click around and as you get more practiced in doing academic research, you'll be able to kind of navigate these. However, what I'll say is there's actually much faster and easier ways for you to do research, very specifically for this class. And so I'm going to kind of go over how to do that today. Okay, so I'm getting a little ahead of myself here, but I'm going to go back to the library website. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about databases. And from the library website, if you just click on this database tab and look at databases by title and subject, I'm going to show you that today. I'll explain a little bit more about what these are and they're important. So databases are just a collection of information online that connects you to really specialized information. So in the same way that like Facts or a Kelley Blue Book would be a database about cars, these are all databases that have research information. And these are really particular to specific disciplines and different subjects that are studied on campus. So if we take a look at this subjects here, you notice that about every department that is at the University of Arkansas has some sort of database, has a lot of databases that are connected to it. So the best way I'll show you an example of this in communication. So we have 6 databases that are specifically designed for research within the field of communication. And so we've highlighted this one here, communication source with communication abstract. Generally, that's a great place to start. However, that's not the only place to look for information communication. We actually have a whole list of different databases. And when you're doing your research, I really encourage you to kind of play around and take a look at some of these different databases and start getting familiar with some of them. But this is still quite a bit of information to kind of sift through. Okay. And this list of databases is actually not the only place that you should do research either. Depending on your topic, there could be a really, really wide range of different databases that are helpful for you. So the best way to kind of figure this out is to look at databases by subject. So, if you were looking for information in your particular major, familiarizing yourself with these specialized databases in your major is a really good way to make sure that you are coming like on your way to doing really good, high quality academic research. Okay. So for this class, I have looked through all of your assignments and the syllabus, and I've identified these 4 databases as being particularly helpful for you as you kind of figure out how to write your speeches. And I'm only gonna show you 2 today. One is called Credo Reference, and the second one is CQ Researcher. So I don't do demonstrations of Academic Search Complete and Next Uni only because we don't have enough time. However, these are outlined in your research sheet, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about these. In the interest of time, I don't cover them today. So I'm gonna show you just really quickly Credo reference. So because I know the title, I'm gonna pull it up here. Scroll down. Click on this. Okay. So Credo reference is essentially a really high quality digital encyclopedia. And a lot of people kind of might wonder why you would want to use something like this over just looking at Wikipedia. And certain topics and certain types of research strategies, Wikipedia is not a bad source, but you can't really use it in academic research. It's not considered a credible place to look. Versus something like reference, all of the material that is listed here is peer reviewed. And I'm not going to go into too much more detail about peer reviewed. This might be a term that you're somewhat familiar with. I encourage you to kind of ask your instructor to talk a little bit more about peer review and how that kind of plays to your research. But essentially, when I say peer review, I just mean really credible, trustworthy information that has been reviewed by experts. So in this case, I did a search. Great. Okay, thanks for clarifying that, Teresa. So yeah, Wikipedia is not a credible source. You can use a Wikipedia bibliography to find potential credible sources. But again, I just recommend using something like Credo Reference because you don't have to worry about searching any ability. It's already been verified as good, high quality information. So I'm going to just click on this entry here for social media, just to kind of give you a sense of what this platform looks like. Okay, so this is just a really, somewhat long overview of social media and what it is. One of the best features about Credo Reference is that it generates a citation for you. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about citation towards the end of our presentation today. But this is essentially the way that we kind of keep track of things that we have read and the authors and the places that we have referred to in developing our arguments. And in this case, for this class, you're using APA style. I can talk a little bit more about these different styles here and why there are different styles of citation. But just the quick explanation is that track of your citations in APA style is really easy through a lot of these library databases. So we have the citation generator here. There is also one at the bottom. And this one is properly formatted. Occasionally, you might have to kind of double check to make sure that these are correct, but for the most part, citations and references that you find through library databases are going to be properly formatted, and you can just use them right away. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to our original search here. Another reason that I really like Credo reference is because, especially if you're new to a topic and you're not really sure, if you have a really broad topic, you're trying to figure out maybe how to narrow it down. It has this little visualization here that connects it to other major keywords. So you can kind of click around this, but it also brings in other library resources. So these are journal articles from peer-reviewed journals that kind of discuss some sort of important component related to the topic. Anyway, so this is a ton of information, but certainly much less than quick search. And a lot of the research and clicking around that you would have to do on quick search has already been done for you through something like Credo reference. Okay. The next thing I'll show you is CQ Researcher. And this is also a fantastic place to start. I highly, highly recommend that you become familiar with CQ Researcher, and it's something that you kind of take a look at and explore for your own research. So if you've done the public speaking lab tutorial, this might be a little bit familiar to you, but if this is the first time you're seeing this, that's okay too. CQ Researcher is essentially a database that compiles really high quality, good, well-researched reports on various issues. So, you can see they've kind of got this list of really hot topics here. They usually have a featured report, which is usually the most recently published report. Anyway, I really like CQ Researcher because it does a very good job of bringing in super high quality, good reports on a wide variety of different topics. So if you kind of had a topic in mind and you already knew a general area that you were interested in writing one of your speeches about, clicking on this browse topic can kind of narrow it down for you. So somebody had mentioned that they're kind of interested in mental health. So, as a librarian, I would really recommend you to kind of check out the CQ Researcher report on mental health. So these are a bunch of different topics that are related to mental health that CQ Researcher has compiled. Somebody else actually mentioned GLBTQ, so I'm going to click on that one just as an example. Okay, so this report, it's pretty short, but it'll give you a really good, somewhat objective overview of the issue. And you can see here, it has these little citations, which will direct you down to its footnotes. So if you've ever, if you've ever done research on Wikipedia kind of a series of notes like this, but Wikipedia, again, not always credible, but these are all going to be credible sources. And they should be hyperlinked so that you, I'm just going to see what happens when I click on these. Okay, good. So all of the materials that are linked in CQ Researcher should take you to the original source. Another benefit of using something like the library is if you've ever clicked on a link and it takes you to a page saying that you have to like pay for access, when you're logged into your library account, you can actually get around that paywall through your library login. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is that you shouldn't be paying for access to any sort of research while you're in college. The university, that's my job as a librarian, is to purchase access to information for you. Okay, so I kind of went over topics. I'll show you maybe a more recent report. Okay, so social media platforms is actually one of the reports, and I'm just going to pull this up and show you some really cool features here that I think will be really helpful for you as you're doing research in your speeches and coming up with a persuasive argument. So here, you can get a little introduction to social media platforms and the issue, but probably the most helpful feature for you will be the pro-con tab. So CQ Researcher actually solicits experts in the field to write persuasive arguments for or against certain questions related to each of these topics. So in this case, should legal protections given to social media platforms be limited? And they've spoken to an attorney as well as a professor at a law school to write arguments for and against. And this is a really fantastic example of the type of persuasive argument that you yourself will have to build in your speeches. And by reading both of these, you can see kind of two opposing viewpoints and, decide for yourself which side, or, you might even have a different view from either of these people. And I highly recommend just looking at something like this as an example and seeing how they use research and who they've cited, who they're referring to within their own argument, as kind of an example for yourself when you're creating a persuasive argument or a persuasive speech. Okay, so that is a lot of information. I'm just going to do a really quick attention check-in here. Okay, wow, 14 people. Okay, so next I'm going to talk about citations, and I don't think okay. Oh, I might have. Oh wait, just give me a second here. I think I might have the results from the last session I did still loaded here. Okay, whoops, sorry about that. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about citation. This might be something that you're somewhat familiar with, but I have two videos that are that kind of explain a little bit about citations. So I'm going to let you choose which one we're going to watch. Okay, cool. So it looks like the bad rap video about citation is the clear winner. Okay, I'm just going to double check I'm sharing computer sound.
Oh, you like coffee? Well, coffee's for closers. The power of the force has stopped you, you hosers. And I'll wake up sober, but you'll still be lazy. I'm a neurotic nut, but you're crazy.
Yo, I mean what I say what I mean. And I'm invincible as the city that Whitman dreamed in a dream. But now I need to come clean
Like Mr. Mister.
Cause as you know, everyone is a little bitter.
A little, cause they won't amount to jack squat. I am Jack's laptop. Jack is such a dull boy. Change yourself, Tolstoy. You're looking sketchy like the kids in the hall. You're killing me, Smalls, and I'm large. Shelley Duvall.
But Mike, I'm ready to fall, so you better call Saul. Got 99 problems, I'm forgetting them all. Like if I could, I would always work in silence and obscurity. But whether or not I do it could be anyone's call.
So, cite your sources like a freaking adult. Haha. Cite your sources like a freaking adult. Cite your sources like a freaking adult. Haha. Cite your sources.
Okay. Ooh, whoops. Okay, so some of you have probably already heard about citation. This is something that you know, often is sort of discussed and talked about, and it's usually. Oh, I'm glad that you guys like the bad rap video. It's usually people think about citation in relation to plagiarism. You know, that you want to make sure that you are saying and keeping track of who you have talked or who have you've referred to, so that you're not inadvertently like stealing someone's ideas. So that's kind of one way to think about plagiarism, or to think about citation. But actually, citation is the way that you add credibility to your argument. So, you know, when you use citations, you're also demonstrating to others that you have done your research, that you have spoken to, or sorry, not spoken, but that you have reviewed expert opinions. You have looked at all of the information on a particular topic, and that you are presenting a really informed, well-researched opinion, or you know, an argument. So citation is really important, and it's particularly important in academic research, because the way that we make decisions and I guess follow inquiry is through you know, credible, well-researched arguments. Okay. So I'm gonna, oh, I did it again. Sorry, I'm just gonna reset these answers really quickly. Okay, so I'm gonna open this up. Just let me know how you feel about each of these. You know, I don't go into a ton of citation, but I can talk a little bit more about that if you'd like. I have some more time at the end. So I'll give you about 30 seconds to respond to this. Okay, good. So it looks like most people are feeling pretty confident. We have a couple people who are maybe still a little hazy on citation and how to create a reference, and I can kind of go over that really quickly. Um, and just about everybody feels really good about being able to find at least one database. So that's awesome. Okay. So I'm going to just open this up for just open questions. So for those of you who maybe were a little bit hazy about citation, feel free to ask me about something here and I can try and clarify it before we kind of start to look towards the end of our session. Okay, cool. So it doesn't look like anybody had any questions that they wanted to ask me. But again, if something comes up and you would like me to, you have questions about citation or anything else, I put my email in the chat. Feel free to get in touch. Okay. And again, this is the research guide for public speaking. Most of the information and a little bit more that I talked about today is available through this website. Again, this should be linked in your Blackboard. And before everyone leaves, I'm just going to ask that you write down something that you learned today. So I'm going to open the voting and I'll give you maybe 2 minutes to do this. And yeah, if you don't have any further questions, thank you so much for your participation and your attention today. I really appreciate it. Your feedback is really helpful for me in figuring out how to make these sessions better. And yeah, I'll stay on the call for the next 2 minutes or so, but feel free to once you've written down one thing that you learned today. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting now. Thanks again for a great session. I really appreciate it.